Phainon, the shining star of the Chrysos heirs and the fated bearer of the core flame of world-bearing from none other than Kephali, the first Chrysos heir we've ever made contact with, as well as the one who is foreshadowed to be the last. This guy has been a head-turning character from the very beginning of the story, not only because of his nickname, the Deliverer, but also because of his origins. He is quite clearly based off of Kevin Castellana from Honkai Impact 3rd, and we know how much Hoyo loves to make XPs out of the previous cast of, well, flame chasers. And ever since the last story dropped, there has been rumor after theory after finger being pointed straight at this guy, and that is what we will be discussing today. Because recently there is no more popular theory circulating right now than the flame reaver Phainon theory. And as of the last video, I wasn't so sure, so I had to think some things out, and after giving this the time it deserves, I've come to a startling discovery. A factor that no one else has addressed that fits in with everything we've suspected so far. Something that even fits in with the prophecy the Chrysos heirs follow. And I hope you're ready. Because this is Phainon is the Flame Reaver Explained. Okay. So as the lore and theory guy, you guys know that I had to eventually throw my Harmony hat into the ring. Because just like Sheepei, I can look at things from many perspectives at once. So let's start from the beginning of what we know about Phainon. Well, we know that he is from a place called Ides Elysiae, which is very close to Elysia, and this place was destroyed by the Flame Reaver. And this person close to him named Cyrene was killed by the Flame Reaver. And Cyrene was a demigod of some sort because she has golden blood. So we can infer that she had a core flame as well. We also aren't exactly sure if Phainon is his real name. So a lot of him and even his past is shrouded in mystery. However, this doesn't really stop us, because it just so happens that quite literally all of the flame chasers mirror the ones from Honkai Impact 3rd. I've already made a video about that. So we know that just as Kevin had the weight of the world on his shoulders, so will Phainon as the bearer of the world-bearing core flame. The Chrysos heirs prophecy also points towards this because it states all shall bid farewell to one, and that person alone shall witness the miracle. And it is heavily foreshadowed that Phainon will be this one, especially since he is shown standing around alone so often. Which also matches Kevin because as the leader of World Serpent, he alone served as a failsafe that was going to defeat the Honkai. If, of course, he didn't find a successor who could take on his burden. But in showcasing his true power, he reveals how much his Honkai Beast Fuse augmentation turned him into a monster, showing that he was willing to stop at nothing and hold nothing back to eliminate the threat of the Honkai. And this is where Phainon comes in. We know that he will be the last one left of all the demigods, that much is obvious. But this is where it gets spicy, because the second half states that this person alone will witness the miracle. Wait. What kind of miracle are we talking here? Well, this entire time we've been assuming that this miracle means the world being saved. But what if I told you that we had this all wrong? Because this isn't that kind of miracle. In fact, we've been told what kind of miracle this is from the very beginning. Because in Amphorius, we know a miracle is what happens when time gets broken and the past is able to be accessed from the present. We've seen Tribi do this miracle herself, and we can even do it. But this miracle is different because as a land of memories, Amphorius doesn't necessarily exist. It is in an infinite loop. This world gets reset every time it is destroyed. Amphorius doesn't exist theory, you all know this. And the world resetting is that miracle. The world being reset is time breaking and returning to the past. And if Phainon is the one who is fated to witness this miracle, he gets transported back in time to the very beginning, forced to replay the events of his world dying again, quite possibly corrupted by the Black Tide since his world died. And this Phainon has the world-bearing Titan's core flame. He is a demigod, and And in this newly reset world, the core flames need to be collected, so he sets out on the flame chase journey alone to collect all of the core flames himself, believing that he is the only demigod left. Transformed into a monster and driven to madness by the Black Tide, he slays the Titans he comes across to take their core flames, not understanding that he is on the wrong side. His goal is all that remains. Instead of being the shining sun, he has become the darkened moon, the antithesis of everything he used to be. So when encountering opposition, he tells them to back off and that they aren't demigods. He saw them all perish himself before. He knows for a fact that he is the only demigod left. And when faced with an immortal opponent, he knows to aim for the 10th thoracic vertebra because that is what he was told, even if he has long forgotten who exactly told him this due to his madness. This Phainon lived to witness the miracle but was driven mad by the Black Tide and reborn as a hunter who remains dedicated to the flame chase but fighting for the wrong side. Just like Kevin, his devotion to ridding the world of an apocalyptic threat turned him into a monster that now needs to be put out of his misery. He is the lone survivor from a different version of the same world. This is what it means to bear witness to the miracle in the prophecy. He alone survives the infinite loop of Amphorius, possessing his previous knowledge but corrupted all the same. This is why the Flame Reaver knew Mighty's weakness, and this is why he said you're not demigods to Trian. And this is also why he shares the same goal as our heroes, because he was one of them once. But he is reborn by the Black Tide now, and he's making that our problem. If, of course, he's still out there, which he probably is. Kind of like that old Link fighting his undead self from a different game thing. We all know how much inspiration Hoyo loves to get from Zelda games. Looking at you, Legend of Genshin Breath of the Impact. This explanation fits in perfectly with everything we know so far. Turns out the word miracle revealed more than we thought. And taking that into account, I guess our job to save the world must be to stop this miracle from happening. Because there is no way Kefali factored us into the prophecy, right? This also fits in with the finality theory, because in order to stop the world from resetting, we need to grant it a new beginning, truly free from its past. Because since the Flame Reaver exists, this suggests that the world wasn't always at such a disadvantage. It is this loop that dooms this world over and over again. This also opens up the possibility that there is more than one Flame Reaver, and not just because he makes clones of himself. Depending on how many times this world has reset, there could be multiple corrupted undead Phainons running around, and that would be awful. So in a way, the Flame Reaver is both the past and future of Phainon at the exact same time. And that is Phainon is the Flame Reaver explained. I'm aware of the fact that there are multiple ways that the Flame Reaver could be a part of Phainon or a different version of him, but this is the only explanation that ticks all of my personal boxes. Because he needs to be Phainon to know what he knows, but not be him because he understands things in a different way. Also, the Flame Reaver has been described as a hunter that was reborn from the Black Tide, all of which this explanation accounts for. I still think it's just too obvious and boring for this all to be linked to a Stellaron and the destruction, because we've seen a Stellaron disaster 3 times already, and a 4th, that would just be too much for me. But what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, y'all.